Okay, now let us discuss, as I was telling, that why some molecules rotate the plane of plane polarized light. Now again I repeat, molecules which rotate the plane of plane polarized light are called optically active molecules, or they are chiral molecules, and they can exhibit in enantiomeric pair, and that exactly what happened with racemic tartaric acid, that exhibited, that was existing in two enantiomeric pairs, and what Pasteur did, he just separated the two types of crystals. Fortunately for him, that the two enantiomers crystallized as separate crystals, and those crystals are mirror images of each other. So, he could, using a microscope, he could separate those two forms. Okay. The question is now, why molecules rotate plane of plane polarized light? Now, the initial argument that was placed to support or to explain this phenomena of optical activity was based on the existence of the carbon, that exactly what Van 't Hoff and Lowell told. They told that a carbon, when attached to 4 different groups, that exhibits stereoisomerism, okay, and that carbon he named as an asymmetric center. Later on it was called a chiral center, and in modern day that chiral center name has been changed, but I will come back later to that modern day nomenclature of a carbon where 4 different groups are attached. But right now let us call it a chiral center or an asymmetric center. Okay. So, the initially it was proposed that the optical in order for a molecule to show optical activity, it should possess a carbon with 4 different groups, as is shown here. Okay. So, that means existence of a chiral center is important for a molecule to show optical activity. Okay. But the problem started when it was shown that there is a form of tartaric acid which was called mesotartaric acid, See, this is what is tartaric acid. It can exist in 2 forms, which can exist in 3 forms, right. One is the plus form, another is the minus form, and there is a third form which is called meso, which is not optically active. So, this is not optically active, that means it is not chiral or what is called achiral, whereas these are rotating the plane of plane polarized light. So, they are chiral molecules. So, the earlier argument that a molecule must have a carbon with 4 different groups, which is called a chiral center, does not hold when you increase the number of chiral centers in a molecule, like what happened in tartaric acid. Now, you have 2 chiral centers which are marked as star. So, these chiral centers, according to the argument earlier that existence is mandatory, existence of this type of carbon is mandatory to show optical activity, does not hold good. So, there is a problem in saying that optical activity arises due to the presence of chiral center in a molecule. Okay. So, then it was revised, this definition or this the reason for molecules showing optical activity. First it was said that there must be a chiral center, then it was revised that yes, there are molecules which can possess chiral centers, but they may be optically inactive, especially for molecules when the chiral centers are similar in nature. Similar in nature means the same set of 4 groups are attached to the carbon. Okay. So, you revise, you say that okay, chiral center presence is required, but some molecules are there where in spite of having these chiral centers, the molecule may be optically inactive. So, the definition got changed. Then another big problem came, that there are molecules where no such chiral centers are present, but they may be optically active. One example is what are called allene system. So, people prepared this type of system. Allene is basically that it is a 1 2 3 diene, okay, not the conjugated one, the directly connected 1 2 3 diene. They are also called cumulated systems. This is the allene system. Allene system does not have any such, or there is no possibility of presence of this type of carbon, because these carbons are now all this is sp2, this is sp and this is sp2, but there are allene systems which show optical activity. So, the problem even become complicated, because first we said that there must be presence of a chiral center in the molecule, then we modified a little bit that no, there are some molecules where the chiral centers are similar and they may destroy the optical activity. So, there are some molecules in spite of having chiral centers they may be optically inactive, but the third one was very difficult, that there are some molecules where there is no such kind of chiral center present, but they are optically active. So, there must be something wrong in the entire concept. So, then people realized, scientists again looked back and inspected these molecules, and then they found that where actually the argument is going wrong. The argument is going wrong because it is based on the presence of this chiral center. See, that is not a mandatory for a molecule to be optically active. So, what is then the necessary condition for a molecule to show optical activity? That is, again I repeat, that is not based on the presence of a chiral center. The presence of chiral center brings stereoisomerism in the molecule. When these type of centers are present, you generate what are called stereoisomers, as I have already mentioned, but this does not this is not directly connected to the optical activity of the molecules. Okay. The optical activity is then connected to what? What is the reason for molecules to show optical activity? It is based on what is called symmetry concept. Okay. Symmetry concept. We know there are symmetric systems, like if I have a square, this we call a symmetric system. Okay. If I draw a circle, this is called a symmetric system. Now, why do we call this symmetric system? There must be some criteria of calling something a symmetric system. If I draw an object like this, now you will say, oh, it is not symmetric at all. So, there must be something in our mind which tells that something is symmetric, something is not symmetric. Okay. So, for molecules also, there are some molecules also we have to inspect that what is the symmetry property of these molecules, and finally it was shown that these symmetry properties actually dictate the presence or absence of optical activity in a molecule. So, now to proceed further, we have to know that what are the symmetry elements. That means what will look. So, when I say something, as I said, I drew a circle, I immediately say it is symmetric. Why do I say it is symmetric? Because you might say that because if I divide it into two by a line, vertical line, I get two identical mirror image kind of pieces, which are two pieces I get, and one is the mirror image of the other. So, that is we call it symmetric. But there are, this is one type of symmetry operation that you can cut it into halves and then see one half is the mirror image of the other half or not. Okay. So, likewise there are additionally 3 different symmetry elements, and in total there are 4 symmetry elements possible in a molecule. One is this, what is the most obvious one, that to cut the molecule into two halves and then see whether one half is the mirror image of the other half. Okay. These are called plane of symmetry, but we will start from the very beginning, because plane of symmetry comes little later. The first symmetry element that one should consider is what is called simple axis of symmetry. Simple axis of symmetry, or this is denoted as C. It has got a also another subscript which is N. This is what is called the fold. N denotes the fold of the axis. I will just explain what does it mean, fold of the axis. Simple axis of symmetry means that if you have a molecule, simple axis of symmetry, if you have a molecule and if you rotate it along an axis, suppose I have this molecule, this I am showing, and I have an axis like this, which is my axis of rotation. If I rotate it by 180 degree, what I see, I get the same molecule, identical molecule. Okay. When I rotate it by 90 degree, it appears different. It is the appearance, okay, because molecule remains the same whatever I do. It is the appearance of the molecule that is more important. So, if I take the molecule like this, and if I have an axis going through these two carbons which are holding these red atoms, and now if I rotate it, remember this white is on the up position, is above, this is below, this red is below and this red is above. And now if I, this is not the symmetry, I remove the red molecules, sorry, I have to remove the red ones, because that is disturbing this symmetry element. Now if I do not have the red ones, I rotate it by 180 degree. So, what happens? I get a similarly looking molecule, This happens only by rotation of 180 degree, it does not happen by rotation of 90 degree. Okay. So, what is this N? I was talking about this fold. The N is basically that how much you have rotated to obtain the molecule which has the similar appearance, and 360 divided by that angle, that means 360 divided by the angle that is required to rotate the molecule around the axis to appear the same like the original. Okay. So, in this case, because I am rotating it by 180 degree, so the fold, this has got a simple axis of symmetry, because I come to the same appeared molecule after rotation of 180 degree, that means before I reach the 360 degree. Remember, if I rotate a molecule by 360 degree, that means it always remains the same, it will appear to be the same. In this case, before 360 degree, if you find an angle where it appears same, the minimum rotation that is required, and you 360 divided by that angle gives you the fold. So, here the fold is 360 divided by 180. So, this molecule has a two-fold simple axis of symmetry. Okay. So, what is the definition of simple axis of symmetry? That you rotate the molecule around an axis by 360 divided by n degrees, or 2 pi by n degrees, and you find a molecule which looks exactly like the same as the starting one. This is also called proper axis of symmetry, simple axis of symmetry or proper axis of symmetry. That is the starting point of symmetry elements. The second one is what is called the plane of symmetry, which I already told you. What is plane of symmetry? The plane of symmetry is simple axis of symmetry. Now, let us talk about plane of symmetry. What is plane of symmetry? Plane of symmetry is that you divide the molecule into two halves by an imaginary plane such that one half is the mirror image of the other half. Remember, I am not saying one half is identical with the other half. I say one half is the mirror image of the other half. That is important. So, if I take suppose if I take a molecule like this, where there is a X here on the top and another X here, this is hydrogen and this is hydrogen. Then if I have a plane here, divide the molecule, and if this is supposed to be a mirror, then this half is exactly the mirror image of the other half. So, then this is called that this molecule is having a plane of symmetry. Now, a molecule can have multiple planes of symmetry. I should have told you earlier that a molecule also can have multiple sets of C axis. A molecule can have C2 axis, a molecule can have C3 axis, same molecule. It is not that it will have only one plane of symmetry. There are molecules which has got one plane of symmetry, there are molecules which do not have any plane of symmetry, there are molecules which have multiple sets of plane of symmetry. Like this molecule, one plane of symmetry we have identified like this. So, this part is the mirror image of this part, but there is another plane of symmetry and that is going through this carbon. Suppose this is carbon 1 and this is carbon 2, and if you now bisect between this carbon and that one, then this part will be the mirror image of the other part. And I can show you, because I have the luxury of having the molecular model here. Okay. So, what molecule I have shown is this, that these are the two X's, this is hydrogen, I am not showing the hydrogens. Now, one plane of symmetry is between this, you see this is the mirror image of that one, and the other plane of symmetry is this, where this is the mirror image of that one. Okay. So, it has got two planes of symmetry. This plane of symmetry is designated as sigma, sigma plane. Okay. So, this is the second symmetry element. The third symmetry element is what is called a center of symmetry. What is the center of symmetry? A center of symmetry is, suppose I have, again I take this cyclobutane type molecule and I have a X here and I have X at the down, a hydrogen here, hydrogen there, and then what I see, that if I take the center point of the molecule and then join this X to this point and then extend it backwards to an equal distance, I reach the same atom X. Okay. The same thing happens with this hydrogen. So, what is the center of symmetry? Center of symmetry is a central point in the molecule which is joined to any substituent in the molecule, and the line joining that substituent, if you extend it backwards, you find an identical substituent at identical distance. The more important point is that this has to be true for all the atoms present in the, or all the substituent present in the molecule. Suppose I replace it by Y. Now, what happens? This is okay, this you join, extend it backwards, you get X, but the problem is if you join Y to this point and extend it backwards, you get H. So, it does not have any. So, your center of symmetry is not present. By the way, this is called, designated as I, inversion point. I will talk to you about this inversion point little later, because once you know the absolute configuration concept, then we can come back and then explain why this is called an inversion point. Okay. This is designated as I. So, I is present as long as this is hydrogen, that is hydrogen, and also these are hydrogens. Remember, you cannot neglect any of these groups. So, whatever substituents are there, These criteria should be satisfied. That means this hydrogen, if you join to this point, extend it backwards, you get this hydrogen. So, if you disturb this hydrogen by y, so now the plane of symmetry is gone. So, to bring back the plane of symmetry, what you need? Y here and a y there. Okay. So, what is the, again come back to the definition? A center of symmetry is a central point within a molecule, where if you join any substituent to that point and then extend the line backwards, you get an identical substituent at identical distance, and this has to be true for all the substituents or atoms that are present in the molecule. Center of symmetry cannot be many, because it is a central point in the molecule which is only one point. So, either one, it has to be one, either it is present or it is not present. So, that is clear. So, we have considered 3 symmetry elements so far. Now, the 4th symmetry element, which is called alternating axis of symmetry. Alternating axis of symmetry, because it is an axis of symmetry. So, a fold will be associated again, because you have to rotate the molecule, rotation is needed. Okay. So, this is designated as SN. N is the fold, S denotes alternating axis. Okay. So, this SN means n fold alternating axis of symmetry. What is this? This is that you rotate the molecule by some degrees, by 2 pi by n. If it is n fold, then you have to rotate it by 2 pi by n degrees, and then in case of simple axis of symmetry, you rotate by 2 pi by n and you come to the same appearance of the molecule. In alternating axis of symmetry, what happens? This is that you rotate the molecule, where is that? You rotate the molecule and then stop at the 2 pi by n degree, then take a mirror image of the molecule along the axis. The mirror has to be placed perpendicular to the axis of rotation, and the mirror image now should be identical with the original. So, there is a difference between Cn and Sn. The difference is that in Cn, just 2 pi by n degree rotation will give you the molecule of same appearance. In case of alternating axis of symmetry, you rotate by 2 pi by n degrees and then along the axis place a mirror which is perpendicular to the axis, and then the mirror image that you obtain should be identical with the original one. Identical means appearance should be identical with the original. Okay. So, some example is, suppose again cyclobutane acts as a very good basis for this concept, that if you have suppose X here and if you have again another X, if you have X there and if you have X at the down. So, suppose these are all hydrogens. Okay. So, if I take this molecule and this is the X for here, this is hydrogen. Now, if I rotate this, if I have an axis like this, if I consider an axis like this which is going through the center, by the way it is difficult because this is aligned to this line. So, it is difficult to show, but consider this line going through the center of the system. If it goes through the center of the system like this, so it is going through the center of the system, and then you rotate it by 2 pi by n degrees. That means, we have to find out what is the n here. Suppose I rotate it by 90 degrees. Okay. So, if I rotate it by 90 degrees, then what will be the scenario? The scenario will be this X will now be here, this X will come to this position. Better number the carbons, then that will be better, 1, 2, 3, 4. So, this will be your 1 after 90 degree rotation. So, in 1 the X was up. So, this is 1, this is 2, this is 3, this is 4. So, x is up, then at 2 x was down, at 3 x was up. So, now x will be down, and at 4 x was down. So, x must be down. What happened? Sorry. Let us see. 1 x is up, that is okay. 2 x is down, that is okay. 3 x is up, sorry. 3 x is up and 4 x is down. So, this will be the appearance of the molecule after, this will be the appearance of the molecule after 90-degree rotation. And then the question is, do they look like the same or not? They are not, because here x on the left extreme corner, this is up, here this is down. So, they are not appearing the same, but now the axis is there. Now, if you place a mirror here and take the mirror image of this, so what will be the mirror image now? Image distance is equal to object distance, that is the basic premise of mirror image. So, this x will be here, number 1, that x was up. So, now the x will be down, this x will be here and this x will be down. Okay. The rest are all hydrogens. So, this is the mirror image. Now, you check whether this is identical with this one, and if you inspect, you see that these two are appearing the same. So, if that is the case, that means now what happened? You have rotated it by 90 degree around an axis, you have taken a mirror image of that rotated molecule. The mirror should be placed perpendicular to the axis, that is very important, and then you draw the mirror image and you see it is identical with the original one. So, that means now it has got 4-fold alternating axis of symmetry. Okay. So, it has, this molecule has S4. How the 4 arises? Again I repeat, because you have rotated it by 90 degree, the fold is equal to 2 pi by n. So, that means 360 divided by 90, and that gives you the fold. So, this molecule has S4. So, now we have completed discussion about all the elements of symmetry. So, one is simple axis of symmetry, that is Cn, then the plane of symmetry sigma, then we have the center of symmetry or the inversion point, that is called I, and the fourth one is alternating axis of symmetry. For a molecule to be chiral, 3 elements of symmetry have to be absent. What are these? The plane of symmetry should not be there, the center of symmetry should not be there, and the alternating axis of symmetry should not be there. What about the simple axis of symmetry? It may be present, it may not be present. It is not any criteria, it is not mandatory to be absent for a chiral molecule. So, now summarize a little bit more, that for a molecule to be optically active or for a molecule to be chiral, what you need is that the molecule should be devoid of plane of symmetry, should be devoid of center of symmetry, should be devoid of alternating axis of symmetry. Okay. Then it will be chiral. If it does not matter whether it has got C axis or whether it does not have C axis. Now, a molecule which does not have any 4 symmetry elements, those molecules are called asymmetric molecules. Molecules which does not have any of these 4 symmetry elements are called asymmetric molecules. Now, if I say that for chirality the molecule has to be asymmetric, is it correct or not? If we inspect a little bit, we say that the statement is correct, but you are putting an additional constraint in the system. You are saying that the molecule should be asymmetric. That means it should be devoid of all 4 elements of symmetry, but chirality is not connected to the C axis. So, unnecessarily we are putting an additional restriction. So, asymmetry is not the, asymmetry means devoid of all kinds of symmetry, is not the criteria for optical activity. Yes, all asymmetric molecules will be optically active, because the other 3 elements of symmetry, that means the I, the sigma and the Sn, if these 3 are absent in a molecule, that will be optically active or that will be chiral. So, we have to find a different name for this absence of these 3 elements of symmetry, and what is that different name? That is what is called disymmetric molecule. So, what is disymmetry? Disymmetry means devoid of 3 elements of symmetry, I, sigma and Sn, okay. And the criteria, the minimum and sufficient condition for chirality is that the molecule should be disymmetric. It should be devoid of I, it should be devoid of sigma, it should be devoid of Sn, okay. So, you see our chiral center never appeared in this discussion. So, chirality is entirely dependent on the geometric attributes of the molecule, that means the symmetry properties of the molecule. Okay. So, if someone asks what is the minimum condition for optical activity or chirality, the molecule has to be disymmetric. What is disymmetry? Disymmetry means it has no plane of symmetry, no center of symmetry, no alternating axis of symmetry. However, things do not stop here. Always there are questions asked against and for. So, again the questions were asked that can we simplify the thing even little more, and interestingly the present day concept about optical activity or chirality is that you do not have to say that it lacks, it has to lack I, sigma and Sn. Just one sentence completes the whole story. For a molecule to be chiral, it should be devoid of alternating axis of symmetry. That is the final conclusion or line, but I did not explain why the molecule should be only devoid of alternating axis of symmetry, because we can actually connect alternating axis of symmetry with I as well as sigma. Just right now, before I explain that, you should know that S1, that plane of symmetry is nothing but equivalent to S1, that means 1 fold. So, that means if a molecule has a plane of symmetry, it must have S1 axis, 1 fold alternating axis of symmetry. Okay. That means sigma is equated to S1. Similarly, I is equated to S2. Okay. So, if a molecule has I, that means it has got an S2, a 2-fold alternating axis of symmetry. Okay. So, basically now you can erase this sigma and I, because S1 means I, S1 means sigma and S2 means I. So, if I say that if a molecule does not have Sn, which is not present, the molecule is optically active, the molecule is chiral. So, that should be sufficient. If I say it does not have Sn, that means it does not have S1, which is plane of symmetry, it does not have S2, which is center of symmetry, or it does not have any other S axis like S3 or S4 or S5, whatever it is. So, now the present day concept or present day basis of optical activity is that the molecule should lack or should be devoid of Sn. That is the final conclusion. Now, you can tell that, sir, how do you know that S1 is equated to sigma and S2 is equated to I? So, we have to we have to explain that. I think then you will accept what I am saying, that molecule should be devoid of only Sn, because ultimately it boils down to such a simple statement. You do not have to consider any other elements of symmetry, only Sn. Okay. So, let us see that how this sigma is equated to S1. So, we draw a molecule which has got a sigma like this X, again we take the same molecule. So, this has got a sigma plane. Okay. So, now if I consider an axis like this, that means if I take this molecule, I take an axis like this and I rotate the molecule by 180 degree, not this molecule, this is a different one, but the cyclobutane. I am just showing that this cyclobutane shown like this and it is rotated by 180 degree. So, if I do that here, what happens? So, I do this by 360 degree. See, if I do the rotation by 360, what happens? It remains the same, because everything when rotated by 360 comes back to the original. Okay. So, this is, it remains X, X, H, H. This is my axis. Okay. Remember, this is my axis. Now, I place a mirror. What is the definition of alternating axis of symmetry? That after rotation, you place a mirror perpendicular to the axis. So, I put the axis, I put the mirror perpendicular to the axis. So, how does it look now? It looks the same as the original. They are same. So, that means it has got S1 axis, that if you rotate by 360 degree and then take a mirror and take the mirror image, the mirror image is same as the original. So, that shows that it has got S1 axis. Okay. So, that means S1, and this holds for every molecule which has got a sigma, that whenever there is a sigma, there must be an S1 present in the molecule. Okay. So, unnecessarily you have to bring in sigma while describing optical activity. Similarly, if you take a molecule which has got I axis, that means X here and X there, okay, hydrogen here, hydrogen there. And if I now have the axis like this, I rotate it by 180 degree. So, how does it look? This X will come here and that X will go there. So, this is hydrogen, that is hydrogen. This is after 180 degree rotation. This is after 180 degree, sorry. This is after 180 degree rotation. This X will come here, that means this will be X and this X will be there. Okay. This is after 180 degree rotation. The molecule does not look like the same. Now, what you do? You place a mirror. Remember, your axis is this. You place a mirror and take the mirror image. This is H, that is X, and this is X, that is H. Okay. I again repeat the operation. This is my axis. This is a molecule which is having I. I rotate it by 180 degree along this axis. This is my rotated position, and then I place the mirror perpendicular to the axis. I get to this molecule, and now you see the relationship between this and that. They look exactly the same. They appear to be the same. So, that means it has got S2, because by 180 degree rotation you are achieving this. So, it has got S2. That means all molecules which has got I must have got S2. So, you do not have to bring in I. When you say a molecule is devoid of alternating axis of symmetry, that means you accept the fact that it does not have sigma, it does not have I. That is why a single line would be sufficient to describe the minimum and sufficient condition for chirality. Okay. I hope this is clear to you. We can have various problems and then to show the importance of these symmetry elements in molecules in the next class. Okay.